I'm not ready to go yet, okay? I'm not ready. You gotta wait. I got shit to do. I'm in the middle of something, all right? Just hold on.
Watch your mouth or don't come in here.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Oh, yeah, people, come on, we're adults here.
You know what? What is the point?
Yeah, we're adults here. I got a fucking Burger King fucking thing on my head. We're all fucking adults here, guys. People, in my chat, 2 words. What are they? 2 words. Let me see the chat flood. Let me see the chat flood. 2 words. Okay, next caller. Please. Let's get into the meat and potatoes, which translate in American to dick and balls.
I got flip-flops. These are my flip-flops. Yeah, I really like my flip-flops because I can put them on. Because look, watch me put them on. I can put them on all by myself. Watch me put them on. Look, are you watching? Look, these are my flip-flops.
Thanksgiving Day. I remember it clearly. It was Thanksgiving Day. I was inserting myself in somebody else's fucking business as a cash grab, and you know.
This channel is harsh reality.
Karen Yak se jodió la sucia vida. Amen.
This is Jonathan Lee Riches. I have cheeseburgers. I'm gonna put cheese on them. I'm gonna make sure that I have my hamburgers because I'm a big boy now and I can make the hamburgers. My mom lets me use the stove now.
And I'm just like, wow, I like receipts, and they brought receipts. Like they had evidence to back up everything they said, and I'm like, okay, well, there's got to be another side to this, right? Like this can't. No, this is too fantastic.
Yeah, because you're not going to just jump to the conclusion that there's a conspiracy amongst cops to cover up a murder. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean cops and just like soccer moms and shit. Like that's what made it even crazier. Like,
yeah, get it, Betty. Yeah,
did you have a close relationship with your mom?
Get it, Betty.
Oh, of course, I still do.
Yeah.
My older sister was kind of sad. She was more of the prissy girl, like
that is the best shit fucking
shopping for the dresses with mommy. I was the tomboy that liked playing with the kids.
Shout out to Cherry for just being easily the most faithful and loyal supporter that I've ever had. That someone could have that tenacity with loyalty. And I'm really blessed to have someone like Cherry be part of this channel and in my life. So it means a lot. And yes, I named him after Mr. T and Rocky. Say, woman. Say, woman. Say, woman. Since your old man ain't got no heart, why don't you come down to my apartment tonight and I'll show you a real man. Oh my God, I'm so in love with this little dude. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up. I love you guys very, 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 very much. And we will do this again very soon, my friends. Oh, say bye. Say bye. Oh, I love you too. Give me a kiss. Oh, I love you. Bye, guys. Woo! I walk away like a movie star who gets burned in a three-way script. Enter number 2. That means Dookie. Yeah, bro. Fucking Gordon motherfucking Lightfoot, bro. She's been stuck in my head all day. Shit is fantastic. How's everybody doing? I hope everybody's doing good. Fun day, right? Fucking Auntie Deb had the mighty Mark Betterow on just now. That was awesome. It's always awesome. Whenever we get to see the mighty Mark Betterow anywhere, but it was cool to see him with Auntie Deb. Auntie Deb's great. Okay, listen, I got to do it. I got to do it. I got to do it. Like, there's no, I just thought of it. I'm doing it. Like, I'm doing it. Because you guys got to see this shit. Because, dude, when I saw this, I'm not going to laugh as hard this time, I don't think. Because I've been laughing at it too much. Like, I basically dehydrated from laughing at this morning. Like, I woke up and I watched this stream and I lost my shit and I had to clip this because it fucking killed me. It fucking killed me, dude. All right, hold on.
Nicole.
So, just to set this up, okay? Auntie Deb has come up with the most brilliant concept for content in the world. And it is basically reading Plevin's book. Reading Plevin's book and basically just reviewing it as he goes along. Same way I do videos on here or anything else, right? Auntie Deb has decided to be the one to do it. Because I know I'm not the only one who thought about doing it too. It's just that I was like, I'm not reading Plevin. I'm not fucking doing it. Like, first of all, Auntie Deb, Jimmy is a fucking hero, okay? Auntie Deb is a hero because he's doing God's work. He's doing exactly what, like, I thought about doing for a second. I bet a bunch of creators thought about doing this and was like, no, dude, I'm not fucking doing that, bro. Like there's no way. Now I want to hear Plevin's book, but I only want to hear it via Auntie Deb. Who the fuck is calling me? Hold on. Hello? 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 Can I help you? Looks like we got us a breather here, folks. Okay, I don't have time for this. Anyway, if you're gonna crank call me, like, make it good. Come on. Like, that's why I picked up. Like, you call from an anonymous number on my burner line, and like, I know it's a troll. Like, it's great. Like, I was so hoping, but they always let me down. Anyway, so as I was saying, Auntie Deb is doing God's work because there's no way I'm fucking sitting there and reading fucking Plevin's book, dude. Nobody wants to do that. You know what I mean? Like, fucking nobody. Like, literally fucking nobody. And Plevin, like, and Jimmy reading it is now I want to hear. Like, that's all I want to hear. I want to now I'm addicted to Plevin's book, but I'm addicted to Plevin's book if Auntie Deb is reading it. I'll demonstrate.
Nicole, tall and strong. Jen, tiny and petite. Nicole is described as sweet, and her face suggests the deep depths of motherly fortitude common to the survivors of generations of Irish poverty. You have poor face. You have poor Irish face.
take it back. I take it back.
Hi, could you describe this woman in one sentence? Sure. The face of generations of Irish poverty. Nicole, tall and strong.
I can't do it again.
Jen,
I can't do it again.
tiny and
I stand corrected. It's just this funny. Actually, I was actually laughing a lot harder than this morning. Like, and I clipped, like, I was laughing when I was clipping it. I was laughing when I was clipping it. And then I just kept playing it once I posted it. Like, I just kept playing it. I was laughing so fucking hard. Poor Irish face, dude. What? Dude, Plevin, does Nicole Albert know, bro, that you fucking called her fucking Irish poor face? That her face is that of generations of Irish poverty. I'm dying to hear the rest of Plevin's book now. I'm dying to hear it. I have to fucking hear it. I have to hear the rest of Plevin's book now. Only if Auntie Deb's reading it. I don't want to hear it from anybody else. It has to be read out loud to me, and I will fucking wear a fucking onesie and lay in his arms, bro, as he fucking reads that shit to me, dude. Like a onesie with footies, dog. Like just sit there. It's so good. I went from having absolutely no interest in this book to it being, I can't wait till the next reading. I need to hear the next reading. I need it. I need it. It has to happen. Oh my fucking God, bro. That shit is fantastic. I got to give it to you. Auntie Deb.
Oh, here we go.
I think we got a super dad. Super dad. I think we got a super dad. Super dad. Super dad. Super dad. Dad, 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 dad. I think we got a super dad.
How dare you?
Donna Rash, thank you so much. You caught a stray yesterday. I don't know what that means, but thank you so much. Dever has no future unless she figures out what to do with Cox. Okay. I don't know if I saw what you did there, but I hope so. Oh my God. And I had some gifted memberships. The Goodman's gifted membership, Sunshine gifted a membership, Liz 88 gifted a membership. Oh. Oh my God, dude. That shit was too much. Oh, dude, like I was just drowning in my own tears laughing this morning, dude. I felt like I just did like 100 sit-ups. It was so funny, dude. Like I didn't see that shit coming at all, dude. Irish poor face. If I don't move on, I'll laugh about this shit all night. If I don't fucking move on, I'll laugh about this shit all night. Okay, let's get right into this. Okay, we're getting serious now. All right, here we go.
Boston 25 News investigates.
Now to a 25 investigates exclusive in the Karen Reed case. It involves Kelly Devers. She's the Boston police officer who sparred with the defense in Reed's retrial. Investigative reporter Ted Daniel has obtained a scathing letter one of Reed's lawyers sent about Dever. The letter was written by attorney Alan Jackson. It's addressed to Boston Police Commissioner Michael Cox. Jackson demands that Kelly Dever be added to Boston's Brady List. The Brady List tracks law enforcement officers who have credibility issues or a history of misconduct.
Did you observe something in the Sallyport garage on January 29th, 2022 that you found unusual?
I know I did not. No.
So the answer is no.
Correct.
That testimony in June has prompted Alan Jackson to demand that Officer Kelly Dever be permanently labeled as untruthful. In a letter to Boston Police Commissioner Michael Cox obtained by 25 Investigates, Jackson writes, either Officer Dever lied about having a false memory, or she actually suffers from a condition that subjects her to false memories. Dever was previously a Canton police officer and working the day John O'Keefe was killed. She testified that she was mistaken when she told FBI agents that she saw ATF agent Brian Higgins and then Canton Police Chief Ken Berkowitz near Karen Reed's Lexus for a, quote, wildly long time.
It was a distorted memory. Therefore, I can't state it because at this point it would be a lie.
She articulated her observations in considerable detail, including specifics about the monitor she was viewing at the dispatch desk, Jackson writes, adding, her credibility and reliability as a law enforcement officer are irreparably compromised.
No, it was just me and the commissioner.
Jackson's letter does not address a conversation Dever testified she had with Boston Police Commissioner Cox about her involvement in the Karen Reed case. Dever said Cox told her to simply tell the truth. When asked about that conversation Thursday, Commissioner Cox responded,
I have no idea what they're talking about with Karen Reed. It had nothing to do with Karen Reed.
Boston police did not immediately respond to our request for comment. Our attempts to reach Officer Dever were also unsuccessful. For 25 Investigates, I'm Ted Daniel.
And Ted sat down today with Peter Tragos from Lawyer You Know to talk about the latest developments in the aftermath of the Karen Reed trial this week.
Yeah, we'll watch that too. We'll watch that in due time. So yeah, let's oh God. Yeah, I want to watch this entire thing, this entire okay. So let's see what Commissioner Michael Cox had to say about the when he was asked by the press, because I believe that I don't believe that the timing of Alan Jackson's letter, which we're going to read shortly, I don't believe that the timing of Alan Jackson's letter is a coincidence here. So let's watch this real quick, because you got to understand this prompted very quickly after this little press exchange that Commissioner Cox had.
Your name came up during the recent Karen Reed trial. You got a visit from Officer Kelly Dever. The defense implied that you influenced your testimony. Do you want to respond to that?
I have nothing to do with Karen Reed. Matter of fact, I didn't even know this person was associated with the Karen Reed case.
Wow.
You know, I have an organization, Philip, over 3,000 people, and we support all our folks. And the reality is that, you know, I get information passed on whether people are high or low, and I encourage everyone, right? And if you're going to work here and you belong here, then we're going to encourage you. I have no idea what they're talking about with Karen Reed. It had nothing to do with Karen Reed.
This dude. Now, I'm not a body language expert, but I'm pretty sure this dude is fucking lying. This dude is standing there and he's looking like a deer in the headlights instead of a man in charge. I find that really interesting. Now, again, I'm not a body language expert, but I know people pretty well. You know what I mean? Like, I know people pretty well. And I'm pretty good at knowing when someone's fucking lying to me too. And there's a lot about this dude that doesn't track and how he's delivering this information, because this is not the behavior that at least I wouldn't feel comfortable seeing this kind of fear from the police commissioner of one of the most populated major cities in the United States. I find that weird, because here he is and he's sitting there and he's, instead of just being like, I have no idea what she's talking about, he's like, oh man, like, if you couldn't hear what he's saying, just watch him on fucking mute, dude. If you don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, dude, look at his face right now, bro. Look at how his expression changes.
Well, you got a visit.
Look, I'm perfectly innocent. Don't worry about that. But wait, and then here's the next question, and then watch his eyes get real big. Watch. Look at that. This dude is just bailing himself out of something here. He's drowning in the pool of the press, and he's sitting here acting like everything that's being talked about is just so ridiculous. It's just so silly. I mean, why are we even still talking about this, guys? Come on, guys. I mean, that's how he's coming off right now. Like, what? I don't have nothing to do with any of that. What? Oh man, what? Wait, you saw my hand in what cookie jar? What are you talking about? I don't think, no. Me? Now let's listen to it.
Do you want to respond to that?
I have nothing to do with Karen Reed. Matter of fact, I didn't even know this person was associated with the Karen Reed case.
Wow.
I have an organization, Philip, over 3,000 people, and we support all our folks. And the reality is that, I get information passed on, whether people are high or low, and I encourage everyone, right? And if you want to work here and you belong here, then we're going to encourage you. I have no idea what they're talking about with Karen Reed. It had nothing to do with Karen Reed. No discussion about
Did you tell Officer Deborah to do the right thing?
I didn't know she was even associated.
You see how defensive he is? This is not somebody who's explaining this like it's the first time hearing about it, which is what he's trying to come off as. I don't know nothing about no Karen Reed. I don't got nothing to do with no Karen Reed. No. Dude, okay. All right, let's hear the rest of this lie. Come on.
That case. So
before I get
I don't know. I was struck like, what do I have to do with the Karen Reed race? I never have said those words together. And so the fact is, it's much to do about nothing. We have employees here that we have to develop and encourage and do things, and I do that for tons of our employees.
Do you feel that you were inappropriately drawn into this?
See, that's not a cop, people. That's a fucking politician.
That case is over, and we've got a lot of other stuff to talk about. I have nothing to do with Karen Reed. I was in the state of Michigan.
Thank you for sharing.
I wasn't even in town. What? Wow. Amazing. I find that incredible right there. Now, here's the other reason why I know this guy's lying. Okay, because what I just explained, what I just did with pointing out his body language and, the look on his face, and that's fucking true crime, fucking amateur hour right there. Okay. That shit only works if you accompany that with just sheer basic logic, because I do not believe for one fucking second that this man, being the commissioner of the Boston Police Department, okay? The Boston Police Department, which employed both Brian Albert and, yes, Boston Police Officer John O'Keefe. Same department. The one connection, actually, between, well, the two connections But one of the two connections between Brian Albert and John O'Keefe simply was the Boston Police Department. This man is the commissioner. Two of the names that are the most talked about for the past 3.5 years. Well, let's say 2.5. If we want to credit Turtle Boy, which we do, in making this very public, at least locally in Massachusetts. So in Boston, this guy for the past 2.5 years is going to act like for the past 2.5 years, like he hasn't heard the name Karen Reed, hasn't talked about it. Like, I got nothing to do with that. No, it's not going to come by his, it's not going to go by his, it's not going to go and catch, and his radar's not going to catch it at some point. It's not going to just fly across his way in conversation at some point. Fucking dinner parties this guy's having with God knows who. You're going to tell me this guy never discussed the Karen Reed case in all this fucking time. And you're going to tell me that Dever, being a witness in the Karen Reed case, being one of his own, the third one of his own being involved in this case, he's not going to fucking have some kind of knowledge of it. Because if he doesn't, then he's an inadequate commissioner. Because he's lying. Again, he's lying because if he doesn't know this, then I don't believe that he has this close relationship with all of his employees. Because you're going to tell me in small talk, this is happening everywhere, in every office, in every fucking household in Massachusetts all this time, except the Boston Police Department, where Brian Albert was and John O'Keefe was a part of. Get the fuck out of my face with that. And this guy's not going to be aware of it? I don't buy that shit for a second. Like he should have said, no, we just didn't. That's case is not in our jurisdiction. But I wonder if this kind of shit ties into why we never see any Boston police presence at Karen Reed's hearings. I'm just curious. I wonder. I'm not sure. But this guy is clearly fucking lying. I don't give a shit what anybody says. And he's lying like an obvious lying politician. He's not even good at it. Like, it's like, do politicians go to like politician school and then learn how to lie bad so that they could publicly do it? It's crazy. I don't understand that. So, yeah, I'm calling absolute bullshit on this guy. Sham Wow says Denver has no future unless she figures out what to do with Cox. Regina Crawford says false memory fund. Thank you. The horseshoe crab on the forehead compels him. Thank you so much. Prohawk VJ, what's Karen? What? I was in Michigan, huh? Exactly. Yeah, that's totally what he just did. Shamwell, thank you again. How was in the meeting with you and Cox? Just the two of us? Do you like Cox? Keep them coming. I love it. Pro Hawk VJ, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Boston Mind. All right, thank you so much. Yeah. And you expect us to believe, didn't she get right after she had this meeting? Because I wonder, A, does he meet, as he says, with every single of his 3,000 people that he oversees at the Boston Police Department? Does he meet with all of them privately and encourage them? Hey, get out there and do a good job. Give him a little nudge on the chin. Hey, is that what he does? And when he does that, does he give them all fucking raises? Does he give them all raises like upwards of fucking almost well short of triple her fucking salary of her already existing salary? I mean, that's fascinating to me. Like, this guy sat there and publicly said all that shit and expects the public to believe it. And the funny thing is nobody, this whole time, nobody took any issue. Nobody took any issue with the Boston Police Department. We questioned why no police presence, but we had faith. We would always say, hey, the Boston Police Department, man, they know what's up, man. There's just something that sucks for them. You know what I mean? But we always, we were like, okay, man, the MSP, they're compromised. Canton Police Department compromised. Fucking Boston Police Department, man. Like, I just feel bad for them. And now this man is acting like, I mean, the police commissioner couldn't actually have, like, just in case he's going to get confronted with questions by the press about the Karen Reed case, have at least some empathetic comment ready to go. Just something. Like, he acted like he had no knowledge of anything. He didn't even extend any best wishes to John O'Keefe's family, thoughts and prayers, none of that shit. He didn't do none of that. He just acted like he had no idea. Can't read. I don't know nothing about it. You are a terrible police commissioner if you don't know anything about Karen Reed. Because I tell you what, there was no fear of this to be had. I want to put that on the record right now. There was no fear of this to be had. But if I was an effective police commissioner and I saw thousands of people gathering for Karen Reed, I'd make myself aware of what the case was to some degree at least. And I would be ready in case you'd have an angry mob of people. Just in case. Now, again, there was no actual fear of this, but an effective police commissioner, you think, would have a contingency plan in place just in case. I know that was redundant. You would think so, right? Now, I'm not saying that he's even bad for not doing this, but to sit here and act like he had no knowledge of anything, that's crazy. That is not leadership. Like, every one of his 3,000 employees just saw him do that. Exactly, Donna. Exactly. Thank you. And Barbara, thank you for the Venmo. I appreciate that. Yeah, this is infuriating. Now, we went over Dever's testimony, and we might go over a little bit of it again today because it hits different after all this. It does, I assure you. And it's ironic because I just went over it yesterday. Strange, right? Just went over it yesterday. Right. No, it's never brought up. Maura Healey, when asked about it, did the same thing. Said almost an identical answer. Almost verbatim. I don't know if Michael Cox's press release was scheduled. I think he just got cornered by the press at that very moment and was forced to answer things that he's just been actively trying to avoid because he tried to avoid it while he was answering the questions. So then we're going to move on to Bettero's letter. Or no, Alan Jackson's letter, excuse me. Sorry about that. Didn't mean to get everybody's hopes up. All right. All right. Now, because we only have screenshots of it, I want to give a shout out. I saw her in chat earlier. I give a shout out to Britt Happens for typing it up and posting it. So I'm just going to read her typed up version instead of trying to read the screenshots. So thank you, Britt Happens, for that, taking the time to do that. So it says here, Dear Commissioner Cox, pursuant to the obligations established under Brady versus Maryland 373, U.S. 83, 1963, and Giglow versus United States 405, U.S. 150, 1972, this letter serves formal notice that a member of your department, Officer Kelly Dever, must be included in the Brady database. The grounds for her mandatory inclusion in the database are outlined below. So right off the bat, he's saying you need to add her to the Brady list. And I agree. We all agree. Anybody who believes in justice absolutely agrees. Anybody who believes in our justice system working soundly as possible, it's always going to be flawed. It's never going to be perfect. But if we believe in doing everything we can so that it does work soundly, then we should all agree that she should be on this Brady list. And she should never testify in a trial of any kind ever again. On top, thank you so much. Alan Jackson needed to put Dever on Brady list for any sense of justice going forward. The right move. Agreed. But I believe there's more to it. We'll get to that. And thank you so much, On Top. I'm not gonna be able to see the chat as I'm reading. If something sticks out to me, if I have to chat, something sticks out to me on my phone, then I'll catch it. That's why I have it streaming on my phone as I go live, so I can try not to miss super chats because I feel really guilty when I do. But if I do, I apologize. As you are Alan Jackson goes on to say, as you are no doubt aware, Officer Dever was a witness called by the defense in the matter of Commonwealth versus Karen Reed, a high-profile murder case that was tried for the second time in Norfolk Superior Court in April 2025. The case received extensive national and international media coverage. Officer Dever's involvement in the case stemmed from her interview with agents from the United States Federal Bureau of Investigation, aka FBI, during which interview Officer Dever explained to the agents in detail her observations of former Canton Police Chief Kenneth Berkowitz, aka Berkey, and Special Agent Brian Higgins, aka No Game Higgy, of the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. In the Sallyport garage of the Canton Police Department, she describes seeing both individuals enter the Sallyport garage of the Canton Police Department where the SUV in question was located on January 29, 2022. Officer Dever described in indelible detail that she witnessed Chief Berkowitz and Mr. Higgins go into the Sallyport and stay there for a wildly long time, and that she thought it weird that a witness on the case, Higgins, would have access to a seminal piece of evidence, the SUV, in the investigation, because they teach you this at the academy. During her lengthy interview with federal agents, she articulated her observations in considerable detail, including he wanted to say specificities. So I can't even say the word now. Whatever about the monitors she was viewing, including specifies she specifies about the monitors she was viewing at the dispatch desk. I need glasses. She described at length her observations of the two men entering the Sallyport with the SUV. Officer Dever claimed no issues with her memory, and she was clear with the agents that she made her observations in the afternoon or early evening of January 29th, 2022. Remember, I'm reading Brit Happens thing here, and so there might be some typos. No hate towards you, Brit Happens. It happens. Brit Happens. Clever. Officer Dever claimed no issues with her memory, and she was clear with the agents that she made her observations in the afternoon of early evening of January 29th, 2022, at the end of her shift after the SUV had been secured in the Sallyport. Subsequent thereto, the federal authorities provided a report of their interview with Officer Dever, both to the prosecution and to the defense in the Reed matter. On or about April 2025, the defense issued a subpoena for Officer Dever to testify in the murder trial, and on June 2nd, 2025, she was subsequently called and sworn to testify before the jury. During her testimony under oath, Officer Dever changed her statement, claiming not that she did not make the statements to the federal agents, but that her observations of Chief Berkowitz and Mr. Higgins were a false memory. She maintained under oath and throughout her testimony that the events she described to the federal agents never happened, that the memory she was recounting was false, and that the events she described did not actually occur. It is clear, therefore, that one of two things is true. Either Officer Dever lied about having a false memory, or she actually suffers from a condition that subjects her to false memories. In either case, her credibility and reliability as a law enforcement officer are irreparably compromised. If she lied under oath, Officer Dever is guilty of perjury. If she truly suffers from false memories, she is unfit to serve as a police officer. Her reports, statements, and testimony can no longer be presumed accurate, and any case, current or prior, involving Officer Dever must be reviewed accordingly. These circumstances bear directly on Officer Dever's credibility and represent impeachment evidence pursuant to Brady and Giglio. Okay, so here's the thing. And before we get into that, let's give AJ his props. Here's the thing. As I said before, I don't find the timing to be coincidental that as soon as Cox makes this statement, denies it altogether. I feel like this is what lit a fire under AJ's ass, because I don't think that it's coincidence. And I don't think that he would just wait a month after the trial to write this letter to Commissioner Cox. It doesn't track. What tracks is that he saw Commissioner Cox lie like a motherfucker to the public. And he said, you know what? I got you now, motherfucker. Here's what we're going to do. Okay? I'm going to write this letter. If I'm Alan Jackson, I'm thinking, I'm going to write this letter. I just saw this motherfucker sit up here and lie. Because I believe Alan Jackson absolutely believes that Kelly Dever walked into that commissioner's office and absolutely had that motherfucking conversation with him. Because I also don't think it's a coincidence that she got such a large pay raise right after the fact. And I sure as shit don't think that she would lie to feds. So What she did was absolutely perjure herself on the stand. There's no doubt about that. And nobody's and as I move forward with my points to come, make no mistake, I'm not making any excuses for her. I'm merely seeing the situation as I see it. So I believe if I'm Alan Jackson, I see this fucker lie and I go, what the fuck? All right. One of these motherfuckers is lying, or both of them are lying. And I think they're both lying. I think he's lying here. I think she was telling the truth to the feds. And I think she lied to me on the stand because what happened that she said happened when I spoke to her fucking happened. That she fucking got called up to his office and was told to do a good job. But I think she's lying about what took place in that office. So if I'm still Alan Jackson, my next move is, all right, I'm going to write a very public letter to Commissioner Michael Cox and say, all right, well, according to you, she's a fucking liar, right? You just confirmed that what she said on the stand was not true. So either she's lying or she's fucking crazy. Either way, she's not fit to be a cop. And either way, she's definitely needs to be on that Brady list. 100% needs to be on that Brady list. Let's see what Commissioner Cox is going to do now. If I put the public light on him the way that the way this letter would do, let's see what it's going to do. Right? What's Sleuthy saying here? If I'm AJ, I'm thinking I hope she saw Cox's statement and will flip on him. Might not matter, though, because her credibility is shot regardless. Great point, which brings me to my next point. What's Alan Jackson's motive behind this? What's the end game? Is it just to troll the commissioner? No, man. Alan Jackson right now is the most talked about fucking lawyer in the world. Not in LA, not in Boston, in the world. Alan Jackson is a motherfucking rock star lawyer right now, dude. His time is money. You think this motherfucker doesn't have an end game? You think he does? You think he's just doing this shit for the thrill? You think this is his way of writing a fucking tweet like the rest of us do? No, dude. This motherfucker's got a plan. This motherfucker, everything I've seen Alan Jackson do, every step I've seen Alan Jackson take has been prelude to a next. Every time. Prelude to another step. You think this man is just sitting around thinking, I'm going to write this letter to Cox so that I look cool to the Karen Reed community on YouTube, Twitter. Hi. No, man. Alan Jackson's time is motherfucking money, dude. I guarantee you that there's some other plan moving forward. Now let's speculate what that plan might be. The only thing that makes sense to me is what Sleuthy was talking about earlier, which is get her to flip. Because here's the thing. I don't think she wanted to lie on that stand. I don't believe that for a second. I don't believe she wanted to lie on the stand. I don't believe that. I think that she was so angry because she was in this position. I think that she felt betrayed by her department. When she was pressured to lie on the stand. But I think that she wanted to be a cop more. I think that she wants to be a cop more than anything in the world. And I think that she wants to be a cop because she wanted to do good things. I do believe that. which is why she told the truth to the feds. She felt like she was doing the right thing. In her mind, cops doing bad, shady shit were giving cops like her a bad name. That's why she was talking to the feds. That's my opinion personally. That's why she told the feds what she told them and was so forthcoming with them. I absolutely believe that. But she wants to be a cop so bad. And she got a hell of a fucking pay raise. Now, ultimately, I think she's mad at herself for selling herself out. Because when she took that pay raise, she sold her soul. That's just the truth. When she took that pay raise, she sold her soul, man. Sham Wow, thank you so much. What does sequestration mean? I've been in at least a dozen trials, and I don't know what the big word means. Sequestration means like, okay, so if they're gonna sequester the jury, that means that they cut them off from everyone, stick them in hotels. They can't fucking talk to nobody, right? It means cut them off from everything. Keep them sequestered. The funny thing is, it comes from the same Latin word that the word in Spanish for kidnapping is, which is secuestra. So to say, yeah, someone has been to say kidnapping means secuestra, right? Which is kind of weird. So think of it like that. Yeah, you take, I guess, taking them from everything else, separating them from everyone, isolated, right? Now, an attorney, like one that actually graduated from a real law school, not the Glare Institute of Law and stuff, they would be able to explain that a lot better. Now, what I absolutely believe is that that Kelly Dever, whatever, she was angry. She was angry at herself, and she was angry with the Boston Police Department. And you know this because during her testimony at one point, she says, "My job depends on what I say up here." Those are her words. My job depends on what I say up here. She said this. And she said it with animosity when she said it. And I feel like she was angry and directed her anger towards Alan Jackson. And I think that she did this subconsciously. It was like a child throwing a tantrum. Subconsciously, Alan Jackson's the enemy. Alan Jackson is up here trying to get her to trip her up. Alan Jackson is the one tasked to make her look like a fool in front of the jury. And that's why she was as combative with him as she was, partly. The other reason I think she was simply because subconsciously, I think she thought that she would be coming off as honest, or not honest, but on the side of whoever pressured her to lie on the stand, so that they wouldn't be suspicious of where her animosity actually lays. So her defense mechanism, subconscious defense mechanism, was to direct her anger at Alan Jackson because he's the one coming at her. But I think her anger was directed at herself and the Boston Police Department. That's what I believe. Now, I don't know if I'm up for it because I've already been live an hour. But we might go over her testimony a little bit just to see if you guys see what I'm talking about. Captain Skidmarks, thank you so much. Yep, she knew this was going to happen, and what she did was wrong. Why else would she tell AJ that he was going to tear her a new ass? Right. Right. Agreed. She was clearly in a very compromised position. And the kind of compromised position that nobody wants to be in because their self-respect is on the line here. It's not just the respect of anybody else, her family, her loved ones. It's your self-respect. Because I promise you, when you do something to sell your soul, something as significant as taking a huge pay raise, a ridiculous pay raise that doesn't even make sense, one that you know is way beyond what you deserve and what you've earned. Taking a pay raise like that and then being told to look out for your fellow brothers in blue, even if it means costing justice for another brother in blue. At that moment, there's no way that any cop wouldn't have been in a position to where they felt like they had to make a choice. A fucking heavy, heavy choice. And I absolutely believe 100% that she consciously made that choice, took that money, and has hated herself ever since. That's what I truly believe. And I think Alan Jackson knows this. I think Alan Jackson absolutely knows this. And I think that Alan Jackson is going to use this for her to flip. Like, dude, they threw you under the bus. You're on a leave of absence now, and they just threw you on. This guy threw you under the bus, called you a liar to the entire world. If you're not in the United States right now, type in the chat where you're watching me from, please. Bruce West, thank you so much. She lives in Canton and would have to worry about the McAlberts. Fair. True. But the thing is are the McAlberts really that much of a threat? You know what I'm saying? Like, if you really pay attention to like how Turtle Boy feels about these people, he's like, these people are just fucking shitheads, assholes. They're not some fucking mob. They're not a bunch of fucking like organized fucking crime syndicate where the fucking people disappear. Dude, they left the guy right on their own front lawn, bro. A cop. These are people who are fucking around with something they probably shouldn't be fucking around with, and it's just a matter of time before the feds fucking catch them. That's it. So I think Alan Jackson knows goddamn well everything that I just said about Kelly Dever. I think that he feels the same way. Or at least, you know, call it wishful thinking. That's fair. Because I love when lawyers validate my shit. But don't forget, how many fucking times have lawyers validated my shit on here? So, and I'm telling you that I strongly believe this. I strongly believe this is a strategy that is perfectly okay for all of us to talk about out in the open too, because how the fuck is she ever going to weasel her way out of this? That's it. It's public. Like, either you are going to fucking tell the truth or you're going down for fucking lying. That's Kelly Dever's choices right now. Alan Jackson just showed Kelly Dever that the people that she's lying for don't give a fuck about her. Liz 88 gifted 5 memberships. Oh my God. Thank you, Liz 88. Sham, wow, thank you so much. What Dever saw was all the missing video. She saw it. She will whistleblow, I hope. Right. She did see it. She fucking saw it. And if Alan Jackson or whoever, not just Alan Jackson, probably not Alan Jackson at all, but if a federal prosecutor can get her to testify to that, because think about it. That's all Alan Jackson can do. What he just did was he provided the feds with evidence. Everybody's forgetting that because I don't believe that this federal investigation is closed. What would be Alan Jackson's motive for doing this? The right thing? Of course. That's a given. Obviously. Don't give me this fucking played out, fucking worn down answer of, well, he's an attorney and, it's the right thing for him to do. That's what he's supposed to do. Dude, he would have done that shit a month ago. There's more here. There's more than that here. Or else it wouldn't have happened right the fuck after Michael Cox stood there in front of the world and lied and threw Kelly Dever under the bus. So it's one thing after the other. Then you got all these cops being rehomed. Come on, man. People. I'm getting a federal boner. Not a state boner. Fucking federal. Okay? Krista Limited Edition. Thank you so much. I think you're absolutely right, Will, because I believe it strengthens her position in her other cases. AJ knows. I agree. That's right. Full on federal chubby. Oh man. Now we got to check out. Hold on, man. We gotta check out because I want to see. So Aiden 6 hours ago tweeted, I changed my mind. I think Commissioner Michael Cox is lying about his meeting with Kelly Dever, not her. Nothing about his story makes a lick of sense. And the fact that he doesn't deny meeting with her at all speaks volumes. Here's my breakdown on the latest installment of Canton Cover Up, part 521. Let's read Turtle Boy's his article here. Yesterday, Boston Police Commissioner Michael Cox was asked by reporters about testimony in the Karen Reed retrial from disgraced former Canton cop and current Boston police officer Kelly Dever. Just a review of Officer Dever. Now, I mean, you got to love this about Aiden here. Dever is a lifelong Canton girl, class of 2016, with Chris Albert Jr., who was working the phones at the CPD on the night of January 28th, 2022, and into the morning of January 29th. Sergeant Sean Good had her take over dispatch after Jennifer McCabe called 911 and reported that John O'Keefe's body was lying on Brian Albert's front lawn. This is very significant. Sergeant Good had her take over dispatch. Okay? Inside the dispatch room, she was able to see security camera footage from inside the Sallyport garage. Dever was scheduled to leave at 7 a.m., but ended up being asked to stay into the afternoon. She claims she left at 3:45 p.m., but no documentation of that has been provided. Shortly after that, she took a job on the Boston Police Department. FBI agents met with her on August 9th, 2023, in the presence of her union counsel. Interesting. Dever told the FBI agents that she saw Brian Higgins and Ken Berkowitz go into the Sallyport together and alone on January 29th with Karen Reed's SUV for a wildly long period of time. In February 2024, the DOJ gave the defense and Commonwealth a 3,000-page TUI report, which included transcripts from Dever's interview with the FBI agents on August 9th, 2023. The defense obviously had an interest in speaking with her because her statements to the FBI indicated Higgins and Berkowitz could have helped frame Karen Reed. After the release of the TUI report, she was called to the office of the BPD Commission, Michael Cox, where she met with him without union representation. Very important to note. In April of 2024, the defense spoke with Dever about testifying, but discovered that she had retracted the story she told the FBI agents after speaking with Commissioner Cox. Dever testified that she told Alan Jackson that Cox told her, insofar as this case, Karen Reed, is concerned, BPD fully supports you. Dever would not say on the stand that Cox told her to do the right thing, but she didn't deny that he did and had previously told the defense that he did. Dever claims that after the defense showed the Sallyport garage video in the first trial showing Reed's car arriving at 5:30 p.m., she realized that she couldn't have seen Higgins and Berkowitz in the garage because she distinctly remembers leaving at 3:45 p.m. on that date over 3 years ago. Dever claims this very detailed and particular story that she told the FBI about Higgins and Berkowitz was simply a false memory that she must have imagined out of thin air, but only realized this after being called up to Cox's office. And here he's quoted saying, I have nothing, because we just watched the video. I have nothing to do with it. I have nothing to do with Karen Reed. Matter of fact, I didn't even know this person was associated with the Karen Reed case. If he didn't know Dever was associated with the Karen Reed case, then why would he call her up to the office to tell her that he supports her, no matter what she testifies in the Karen Reed case? It's really simple. Either he's lying or she is. No follow-up questions were asked about why he invited her up there at all. You know, I have an organization of over 3,000 people, and we support all our folks, he says. And Aiden goes on to say, and do you call all 3,000 of them up to your office to meet with them individually? I made the same point earlier. Because if he didn't call her up there to talk about that, then are we to assume that he calls every random BPD officer up to his office to shoot the shit and offer his support for a few minutes? And the reality is that I get information passed on whether these people are high or low, Cox says. And I encourage everyone, if you want to work here and you belong here, then we're going to encourage you. I have no idea what they're talking about with Karen Reed. I've had nothing to do with Karen Reed. No discussion about it. I mean, he sounds like a sleazy fucking politician. Like imagine you're talking to like some dirty ass fucking sheriff in some shit kicker town with a bunch of good old boy bullshit. And imagine him using the same exact words as Michael Cox is using here. Think about that. And the reality is that I get information passed on whether these people are high or low. And I encourage everyone, if you want to work here and belong here, that we're going to encourage you. I have no idea what they're talking about with this Karen Reed nonsense. It had nothing to do with Karen Reed. I had nothing to do with Karen Reed. No discussion about Karen Reed. Dude, you sound like a fucking dirty motherfucker. You sound dirty, bro. You sound like a dirty fucking high up cop in the middle of some fucking balls deep in some good old boy bullshit. That's what you sound like when you talk. Yeah, I don't know anything about no Karen Reed. No. What, dude? Unreal. So Aiden goes on to say, oh, okay, so every cop on the force randomly, I already read that. Yeah, look, I didn't know she was even associated with that case, so I don't know. I was like, what do I have to do with the Karen Reed case? Am I right? I've never said these words together. The fact is It's much ado about nothing. We all have employees here that we have to develop and encourage, and I do that for the tons of our employees. Thank you very much. No more questions. Thank you very much. That's the kind of shit that comes off like, dude. Bullshit. Pure bullshit. Bullshit that nobody should be expected to believe. So Aiden goes on to say, when I first saw the quote yesterday, I immediately thought Dever was lying. After much reflection, I'm convinced Cox is lying. This quote was all the proof I needed. It had nothing to do with Karen. It had nothing to do with Karen Reed. It had nothing to do with Karen Reed. It is confirmation that he did indeed have a one-on-one meeting with Dever. Great point, Aiden. Shit. Well, nice catch. Nice catch. And it's laughable to believe his obvious lie about calling every cop on the force up to his office to give them a pep talk of encouragement. Literally, no one believes that. Exactly, dude. If he wanted us to believe that she was lying, he should have said the meeting never took place. Right. But instead, he said that the meeting, had nothing to do with Karen Reed. Great. I didn't even catch that. Dever is also on leave now. No clue why. She testified that her job was on the line based on how she testified. And apparently she was right. The fact that Cox is acting like he doesn't know anything about the Karen Reed case is an obvious lie and would be malfeasance if true. Malfeasance if true, excuse me. That's why he was a teacher and I'm not. The victim is a Boston cop. The guy whose lawn his dead body was found on is a Boston cop. And the Boston police commissioner who preceded him and issued a statement condemning Karen Reed on February 2nd, 2022, lives in Canton. If he's lying about that, then what else is he willing to lie about? He's obviously not going to admit that what Dever said was true. She did the best job she could, trying to balance not losing her job and throwing him under the bus. Exactly. But ultimately, Alan Jackson made it impossible not to do both. Boom. There it is. You know, I love it when Turtle Boy validates my shit too. I'm not going to lie. But yeah, Alan Jackson's got to move here. I absolutely believe this. Alan Jackson totally has a move here. Now let's hear what I'm curious to see what Peter and Ted Daniel had to say about this.
My last conversation with Peter Tragos, we have a new development in the Karen Reed case that came up. Peter is coming from a place very far away. Where are you right now, bud?
I'm in Greece, man, the motherland.
Nice.
Visiting back to my roots.
Love it. What have you guys been doing?
We were around Athens for a few days. It was awesome. Visited a bunch of the sites, and now we're cruising, kind of island hopping. Looking forward to the rest of the trip. It's been awesome.
All right. Well, I think I would trade places with you in a heartbeat. All right. The reason why we are talking is I got my hands on this and I shared it with Peter. I don't know how well you can see it. It's a letter that Alan Jackson wrote to Boston Police Commissioner Michael Cox. Of course, Jackson is Karen Reed's attorney from LA. And the letter specifically talks about Officer Kelly Dever, who testified in Reed's second trial. And Jackson is asking that Dever be placed on the Brady list. Can you tell people what the Brady list is and what that means if you're a police officer and you get tagged with that?
Yeah, it's not good. It means that there is something to use against you for all the criminal defense lawyers and criminal defendants for any cases that you worked on. It means that you have done something wrong. And in this...
Right. So, example. Brennan calls some fucking dirty ass cop to this to the stand in the Karen Reed case, right? Now, this didn't happen, just hypothetically. I'm just using the Karen Reed case as a setting to make it easy to set this example. So Alan Jackson cross-examines this dirty cop. And then, sir, do you know what a Brady list is? Did you know that you're on this Brady list? Could you tell the jury what the Brady list is? Blah, blah, blah. And then that's it. No credibility at all whatsoever. You're fucked. That's it. No lawyer would ever even dare to call you to the stand. You have no credibility left as a police officer. Like there's like, to me, that's it. Your honor's been stripped. Your sense of honor's been stripped. Like somebody like you swearing under oath in a court of law as a police officer, as a peace officer, as a public servant, and you can't do that because you're deemed untrustworthy to do that, to swear under oath, to get justice for somebody, you have no business even being a cop.
This scenario, he wants other lawyers to know anytime Ms. Dever is on a case, they should be able to ask her about her false memories and issues that stemmed from the Karen Reed trial.
So just to remind everybody, during the trial, Jackson asked Dever about statements that she made to the FBI, where Dever, according to Jackson, said that she saw then Chief Ken Berkowitz of Canton Police and ATF agent Brian Higgins in the Sally Porter garage of the Canton Police Department for a, quote, wildly long time with Karen Reed's SUV. When Dever got on the stand in the retrial, Jackson started asking her about that, and she said that was a false memory. So that is essentially the basis of the claim that Jackson has made, that, hey, that, you know, and I mean, he goes in typical Jackson style. He says, quote, either Officer Dever lied about having a false memory or she actually suffers from a condition that subjects her to false memories. I mean, that's classic Jackson, in my opinion.
It's a big deal. It's a big deal. She's an officer. She's testifying. People's lives are on the line. Her work is very important. If she is somebody that's either A, willing to lie, like he said, or B, somebody who creates false memories.
Right.
When it happened, we were all like, what does that even mean? If you're somebody that does that as an officer, you shouldn't have people's lives in your hands. I mean, I think that's just something that's true. And I think that's something most criminal defense lawyers would argue on cases where their clients were subjected to work, testimony, police work at all by Ms. Dever. And this is something that comes up. This Brady list is something that comes up in discovery. Every case, criminal defense attorneys will ask, hey, turn over everything you have on these officers. Is there any Brady material? Is there anything? Brady material is exculpatory information that proves your client's innocent, but it is also information that's good for your client, information that could impeach state witnesses or Commonwealth witnesses in this jurisdiction. This is spot on. This has to be Brady material. She has to be on the Brady list. Other criminal defendants and criminal defense attorneys need to know about this in any past cases she has worked on and any future cases she may work on.
That's it.
I mean, could this just be an honest mistake, though?
Get him.
That she said, I think that she might have been influenced by a lot of what she saw in the news and on the media, and then
come on, Ted. Come on, man. Okay. Now here's what I have to believe Ted Daniel is doing, because no, bro, no. What I believe Ted Daniel is doing right now is just simply playing devil's advocate, just simply exploring all different possibilities. I think that that's all he's doing right now, because no, bro, come on. I know you know better.
And first of all, we don't even know if Boston police will even consider this. And if they do they factor in? Do they bring her in? Do they interview her? Or can they just say, no, Alan Jackson, we're not listening to you?
So there's a couple things I want to say to your question. It's a really good question. Number one, I don't know what Boston police is going to do, but can I tell you what a prosecutor should do? If I'm looking at it as a prosecutor and she's on my case, I'm turning this over. I'm not taking the chance that we go to trial, we win,
Right.
we get a conviction, we put the bad guy away, and we lose on appeal because we didn't turn over this exculpatory information that I, as a lawyer,
Right.
so I would like a lawyer to argue with a straight face that this is not an issue. And then number two, I like to give people the benefit of the doubt. You know, one of the things I talk about a lot on YouTube is give people grace. I really want to do that. I try to do that my best. I try to do that with Hank Brennan a lot through this trial.
Okay. 1 second there, Peter. So yeah, I don't know. That's a stretch, ShamWow. I mean, I see what you're saying. Like, I think that Snowden just kind of took it upon himself to do the right thing, is what happened. I don't think that they're really comparable scenarios, but in the sense that, you know, because I don't even want to give her the credit that she wants to do the right thing now. I think that she's in self-preservation mode, has been at the very least since she got subpoenaed. So I think that she's fully in self-preservation mode. I think that she'll take sanctuary and any quarter she can get wherever she can get it right now. But Alan Jackson has created a situation where the only quarter she's going to get would be from those trying to get some convictions here. Because at the end of the day, she just saw something. You know what I'm saying? She wasn't there. She didn't cover nothing up. She did the opposite. She did the right thing at the time. You know what I'm saying? It's just she made a bad choice at some point and put herself in a really fucked up position.
She erased that by saying she created a false memory. And we don't have to change it from her own words. When people tell you who they are, I like to listen to them. She said, I created a false memory, and that alone. So, you know, is she a liar? Did she create a false memory? We don't have to call her a liar, but let's say she created a false memory. That is impeachment material and impeachment information that all criminal defense lawyers and criminal defendants that have Kelly Dever on their case should be able to use against her at trial.
Okay, that's interesting. So regardless if there was any motivation there, you're saying the fact that it happened, it came out during one of the most high-profile cases in the country,
Thank you,
that
Cat
will
Randall.
probably stick with her. And that's one of the things Jackson talks about here. Essentially says, hey, you can choose to ignore this, but you're going to run into constitutional issues down the road. And is that what you're getting to?
Yeah, absolutely. And as a prosecutor, you don't want this mess. You don't want this to happen. This is going to be something that is significantly difficult for Ms. Dever to get over, that this happened.
Dude, the one lawyer that the world is waiting to hear from on pins and needles. What interview is Alan Jackson going to do next? The world is dying to hear from Alan Jackson. And that guy wrote a very public letter to the commissioner of the Boston Police Department. That means that Commissioner Michael Cox is under severe public pressure to respond in some way, shape, or form. Cat Randall, thank you so much. The Dever redemption story, I'll allow it. I mean, I wouldn't say, I mean, she has a chance to redeem herself. She does. I'll give her that. I think that she, you know, I think that she wanted to do the right thing at some point, but I think it's come to a point. I think that the wanting to do the right thing attitude ship has sailed once she lashed out at Alan Jackson in open court in a trial that's being televised all over the world, televised all over the country and streamed all over the world. So I find that to be, yeah, you know, like I said, that ship has sailed. Now I think she's in full self-preservation mode. So I'm not ready to sit here and call her a hero if she does the right thing all of a sudden. You know what I mean? But she will at least get credit from me for having done the right thing as best as she could at the time that she was able to do it. At this time, if she does this, I'll say, okay, with the circumstances given that you created, make no mistake about that, you can now do the right thing. Because again, she had a choice she could have made. She could have turned this whole trial upside down. She could have contacted Alan Jackson and been like, listen, I just got called up. She could have called David Yanetti's office and been like, listen, I know this Karen Reed thing is a fucking crazy thing right now. And I got to tell you, like, I got called up to the commissioner's office and I felt really uncomfortable with what happened. And they gave me a pay raise, and I'll take it for now because I didn't want to like spook anybody. But I felt like I should call you and tell you what's going on and what are my options moving forward, because I don't want to come off like I fucking took payment to fucking lie here on the stand when the time comes. This is what she could have done. She could have contacted Karen Reed's defense team, made them aware, and they would have gone through whatever motions they had to go through to protect her and get her testimony and make sure she's protected. They would have absolutely done this. And she might not have had a career at the Boston Police Department, but she probably would have had one somewhere else. Like, it ain't no thing to just move to another city, dude. You know what I mean? People do it all the time. Is it a massive inconvenience for a lot of people? Sure. But, I mean, is it worth your fucking soul? You know what I mean? Is it worth your stomach turning every single time you think about what could be happening? What the next move from whoever is above your pay grade is? Every time she thinks about this girl's, let me tell you something, Kelly Dever is not getting a second apiece right now. Yeah, Sergeant Barrows is laughing and smiling on TikTok channels. He's good. He's straight. Kelly Dever is sitting there with her stomach in knots because of her nerves and because of the anxiety, because she doesn't know what the next thing that is about to come is. She has no idea. And right now, she's struggling with all kinds of regretful thoughts. Man, if I had just done this, I could have done this. If I had just done that, I could have done that. This is what's going through Kelly Dever's mind right now. I promise you that. Jim Jerry Gunn, thank you so much. Albert's pals had a word with her, I'm sure. I mean, at least with the police commissioner of the Boston Police Department. Guarantee you that. You don't think she cares? You don't think she's scared out of her fucking mind right now? And I'm not defending her. I'm not saying she shouldn't be. I'm not saying I feel bad for her for feeling that way. I ain't saying that at all. I'm saying this is where she's at. This is where she's at.
That's something we talked about when the trial happened, that how do you deal with this now? And also, you can quibble sometimes if you're an officer and you maybe change an element or a detail in your testimony and you say, oh, I made a mistake or I was wrong or whatever it may be. That's very different than saying you created a false memory. It's difficult to quibble with.
Hey, let me explain something to you guys. There are a handful of good guys in this situation. Neither Kelly Dever or Michael Cox are one of them. Okay, make no mistake about that. The only good guys, if I can name them off the top of my head, are Karen Reed, her family, her defense team, Turtle Boy, Lucky Loughran, Sergeant Barrows. And that's just anybody directly involved in this case in any way, shape, or form. And I barely count Turtle Boy as to being directly involved. I'm only counting him because of everything that he's done involving the case and the fact that he got dragged into it by Brennan. But there are only a handful of good people, good guys in this whole situation, and John O'Keefe too. Excuse me. But there's only a handful of good guys. I'm not counting YouTubers and all that. I'm talking about the people directly involved. You weigh out the good guys versus the bad guys in this situation, dude. It's not even a contest. And I promise you that Kelly Dever is not one of the good guys.
With her own words in this scenario.
The timing of this is interesting. It comes one day after Commissioner Cox was asked about Kelly Dever. It was the first time he was doing a news conference on another topic. I was not there, but I watched what he said.
Thanks, Mary
and
Murphy.
I found his statements interesting. He said that he really did not know that Dever was involved in this case, that, you know, he has 3,000 officers, and it was something that he seemed to say, hey, I don't know what you guys are talking about. And to me, I thought that was strange, just because it was so high profile. I mean, granted, this conversation that Dever had or testified that she had with Commissioner Cox would have been before the first trial, so maybe 2023, early 24. But what were your thoughts on that? The fact that Michael Cox essentially said that he didn't remember this conversation.
Well, number one, and I'm not poking fun here. This is not a joke. If I was going to say Commissioner Cox is correct and Ms. Dever is wrong, you'd go straight to, this is somebody who's already admitted creating false memories. Did she do it again? And that's exactly the position that a lot of criminal defendants may be in if it's a he said, she said situation with Ms. Dever. More realistically, maybe he forgot. Maybe he doesn't want to admit it. Maybe he wants to move on. Maybe he thinks at this point that case is over, which is kind of what he mentioned in the discussion or the interview. That case is over. Let's move on. I don't remember having anything to do with Karen Reed's case, and it's not going to come up in court, which I think it would if we had another trial and these lawyers were dealing with it. But maybe it'll just kind of go away without people talking about it. But there's no way to look at Commissioner Cox's statements and Kelly Dever's testimony and not see them as completely opposed.
Yeah, so he just quoting from what Commissioner Cox said yesterday, he said, quote, I have nothing to do with Karen Reed. As a matter of fact, I didn't even know this person was associated with the Karen Reed case. And this person, I believe, is Kelly Dever. But Kelly Dever's memory was that, you know, they had a meeting. I think at one point it was just her and the commissioner.
Now, my big question is, can they still charge Kelly Dever with perjury? And is it even worth it? Like, what's the penalty for it? Will they charge Kelly Dever with perjury? And can Alan Jackson still do it? That's the question. Can they charge her with perjury? Now, the DA, yeah, that's a good point. The DA would have to do that, right? So, what DA would charge her with perjury? Which DA would charge her with perjury? Well, does it have to be Michael Morrissey's office? And will Michael Morrissey's office charge her with perjury? And here's the big question, the reason why I'm asking this. Will Commissioner Michael Cox just throw her under the bus and allow her to get charged with perjury? Because then that leaves her open to still being charged with lying to federal agents, wouldn't it? So I'm wondering, Right. I don't see Michael Morrissey charging her with perjury either. So what would be the benefit of having her charged with perjury, of pushing it? In my opinion, the benefit would be to publicly display more good old boy bullshit. Just have it out there. More shit to have on record. Right? Will Alan Jackson write a letter to Michael Morrissey saying, charge Kelly Dever with perjury? Because in a Norfolk County court, now I'm not saying he should or he shouldn't. I'm just curious. Would this be another move that would be beneficial? Because if he does this, in my opinion, it would absolutely, and I might only be seeing one side of the coin here. But wouldn't that be beneficial in the sense of showing the public that a police commissioner, a Boston police commissioner, lied and threw one of his own under the bus?
She was a rookie officer, and that's one of the things that Jackson kind of questioned her about during the trial. Like, hey, is that usual that rookies are being called up to have a conversation, a private conversation with the commissioner? I think at some point Dever said that there was the general counsel for Boston Police was involved in these conversations. So it just struck me as sort of strange that, I get it that he wants to kind of move on from the issue, but these are kind of two diametrically opposed statements.
Yeah, they just don't jive. And by the way, what I said about Kelly Dever at the beginning of this conversation with Commissioner Cox, her detail sure seems like it happened. I tend to believe that this conversation happened.
Right.
So where does that take us?
Go.
I don't really know. Probably somewhere Commissioner Cox doesn't want to go. And that creates the issue with this entire situation is what's happening. Is it from a ground up situation?
Yeah, I like to hear that because I'm not really used to hearing Peter be so opinionated. And I mean, I don't listen to him that much, so I don't know if maybe he is. I don't know. But it's refreshing to hear that because, like, yeah, clearly, like he's saying that he believes, yes, this conversation absolutely fucking took place in that office. Of course it does. Her story tracks, not her story on the stand, but the story that she is telling whether she likes to or not. And what I mean by that is the stuff that's on the record. That story, whether she likes it or not, makes a hell of a lot more sense than any bullshit she spouted out on the stand.
Situation? Is it from the top down where they're trying to protect each other? And I think a good indication may be what happens to Kelly Dever now, because I think to have her investigate cases and be a cop that testifies, that might be completely gone and something that she can't do and be a career ender. But will Commissioner Cox protect her? Will he give her some other job? Maybe something more administrative that she can stay out of the limelight, out of the courtroom. Well, this will not affect her. Will he look out for her? And if he doesn't, how will she respond? Because if I was her, I wouldn't like the comments he was making publicly, basically saying either it was insignificant or I didn't say anything about Karen Reed's case. Or again, if we're going to give everybody the benefit of the doubt, maybe he was just having a normal conversation with a rookie cop and she took it to be specific about the Karen Reed case. I think that's a possible explanation that if I was Commissioner Cox, maybe that's what I would point to. I talked to all the rookie cops. I was telling them, it's so important what you do testifying in these cases. You make or break your career as a testifying witness. So make sure you go tell the truth and do your best. And she, because she had Karen Reed on the mind, she's subpoenaed by the defense team. Maybe she's nervous. She's a young cop. She took it to mean Karen Reed.
Bro, I just got to take a second and I got to give Peter, my man, some props here, bro. Look how baller this dude's fucking room is, bro. This dude is in Greece. Look at how baller that shit is, bro. Look at the bed over here. It's got a fucking TV hanging, probably retracts. No, it doesn't look like it retracts, but it's cool that it's hanging from the ceiling like that. That shit's baller as fuck. Go ahead, Peter.
Reed, but he never said it. Something in the interview, I think he said he's never strung those two words together, Karen Reed, in a sentence before, something to that effect. So maybe that's what he meant. Maybe that's what he was thinking. If we're giving everybody the benefit of the doubt, I think that's best case scenario for them.
And Dever has a long way to go. I mean, she's I think she's in her 27 maybe. So she's young.
Oh, he's on a cruise ship. That tracks. That looks like a nice suite in a cruise ship, dude. That looks like a baller ass suite in a cruise ship.
This is her second department. She was with Canton Police prior. That's when, she was working the day that John O'Keefe was killed. And yeah, I mean, this is, I don't know if she was necessarily expecting that she'd become sort of one of the more high profile figures in this case after, an hour of being on the stand. And I think it's partially because of what happened when she was on the stand. It was clear that she, was not a big fan of Alan Jackson. She was not afraid to push back, and she pushed back pretty hard, and it led to
Stop it, Jerry. Stop it.
some of these electric moments in the courtroom. When you're 27, maybe you're not thinking that, hey, the whole world's watching, which was happening with this trial, and that then you become, part of this saga where, any player in the saga certainly, is scrutinized.
Yeah, and I think her testimony was so disastrous that I actually thought it was bad for the defense when I was watching. She can't really be believed on anything, and she was arguing about everything and trying to make the defense attorneys look bad. And Alan Jackson had to do a really good job, which he did on redirect. And I was wrong. If you listen to the jurors, they all felt like Dever was a disaster, played into the defense's theory, and it's all continuing now. And Alan Jackson, listen, you can say he wants the limelight. You can say he doesn't want this to end. He's basking in it. Whatever people want to say negative about him. There's also a positive side to this for other lawyers and other people having to go into this. He's like, I want to make sure you guys all know about this. You know how bad this is. You know,
Right.
she can't be trusted. You deserve this information. Your clients deserve this information for a just.
Right. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Exactly what Peter's saying is it doesn't matter if he's doing it for the limelight. At the end of the day, he's still providing a fucking necessary service, which is letting every fucking lawyer know that this person is not to be trusted to testify in court. Kelly Dever is not fit to testify in court. She has no credibility. None. It's destroyed. So it doesn't matter if Alan Jackson is doing this because he's like, yeah, rock star lawyer just fucking bagged the dopest fucking case ever. What? I just won, bitch. Woo. That's okay. Cool. He deserves to do that, first of all. Second of all, even if he is fucking doing that, he's still providing a necessary service in the process. So hate all you want.
And fair criminal process in a criminal litigation. So I want to make sure you guys know about this. And if lawyers didn't do that, if we didn't make sure each other knew the issues with law enforcement, if we didn't shine a light in this darkness, nobody would ever know about it. And it would be a lot easier to get away with things like this as law enforcement.
You think Jackson would have ever sent this letter had
Pearl. Down, bow, bang, down, down. Fuck yeah, dude. Rocking the Magnum PI, Peter. I love it, bro. I love it. Sham, wow, thank you so much. Kelly Dever is one of us. She spoke the truth and then got rodeo tied and told to lie. Her career is over. We should support her. I mean, I'm not saying not to support her. I'm saying I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm not doing that. I'm not going to sit here and act like she's this fucking virtuous person. I'm not putting her on the same level as Lucky. I'm not putting her on the same level as Barrows, bro. I'm just not fucking doing it. That's all I'm saying. I'm not fucking doing it. Like, if she does the right thing now, it's because she has to do the fucking right thing now. She's already shown the world that she's had the choice to do the right thing. And when the choice was there, she made the wrong choice. She did the wrong thing. So, no, I'm not sitting here and acting like, yeah, I support her. I appreciate you, Chamois, but yeah, exactly, Microdos. She not like us. She not like us.
Cox's statements not to come out?
That's impossible for me to know. I feel like if he had Cox's statements, they may have been referenced in this letter because it happened about the same time. I think you said the day before. So it's almost like I feel like a follow-up is necessary because here's another person saying Kelly Dever created a false memory. Maybe we should add that to the list.
All right, that's a fair point because that does raise another issue that he can at least paper of sort of he said this, she said that, and that raises these questions.
He addressed this.
Yeah,
he addressed this to Commissioner Cox. He could say, "You of all people should know, sir. You said you don't even remember the meeting. She testified about it for 15 minutes."
Yeah, and on your previous point, it doesn't.
Yeah, sham. Wow. Let's not forget this, homie. Because I get it. I get where you're coming from, and it's nice. It's a nice sentiment. I think you're a good person. I have no reason to think otherwise. But you're forgetting these things too. I'm not going to sit here and hoist her up on everyone's shoulders here because, I mean, she did the wrong thing and she did the wrong thing for the wrong reasons. So that's just it.
It doesn't appear that this defense team is riding off into the sunset.
No.
And, you got to wonder what else is next. What's the next sort of shoe to drop? And I imagine if there's one to drop, they're gonna take it.
I think they're still fighting for justice to clear Karen Reed's name, to make sure the world sees what's going on there. People can hate them for it. I'm sure they will. People will have their feelings about that. But the point is, lawyers are used to being hated. I mean, nobody likes a lawyer until you need one. And that rings true in this situation as well. And I don't think they're going to stop. I really don't think they're going to stop until they feel like they've done enough. And they've made some slight comments about, the real killers are out there. Even the jurors, we need to go find who did this. The investigation shouldn't be done. Feds take a look at this again. And I think there's a lot going on in the background. We heard they signed a movie deal. What will that mean? What will happen with that? Who the heck knows? There are documentaries being created. I don't think this is over.
Yeah, no, I think that there will certainly be a telling of this, from the perspective of Karen Reed and from the perspective of Alan Jackson. And Jackson has the connections, being from LA. And I mean, every time you turn on Dateline, he's there, because he's done one, and he's got another high-profile case that he got recently signed on. One other thing I kind of want to hit on before we let you get back to your vacation, the fees for Brennan came out, and $250 an hour though is for a
now. One important observation that I just thought of. I spent a pretty significant amount of time around Alan Jackson. And I can tell you that for a guy who is this rock star LA Hollywood lawyer, I didn't see him on his phone that much. Now, I used to get in trouble at my job, every job I had, for being on my phone too much. That always happened. And I wasn't even a fucking badass Hollywood lawyer. One of the most talked about lawyers in the world. I wasn't that guy. I hardly ever saw this guy on his phone. You know what that tells me? Tells me how dedicated, just a smidge, one small example of how dedicated Alan Jackson was to Karen Reed's case. Dude was almost never on his phone.
A defense attorney, don't most defense attorneys bill at like 5 and 6?
That's nothing. Yeah. For his experience and what he could probably bill, especially in a big jurisdiction like Boston, that's nothing, $250 an hour.
Yeah. So,
I don't mean to be insensitive. I'm cutting through it so people understand that is not a lot of money, $250 an hour. That is not really the most shocking part about this revelation that we've gotten.
Yeah. It came up to be like $566,000. And I don't.
No, man. When you're hustling, bro, you're on your phone. Like, even if it's to your assistant, you're on your fucking phone if you're hustling.
I think you can question whether Brennan worked those hours. He certainly, I saw him there every day, in a trial like this, and the lawyering that went on in this case and the papering that went on in this case, I'm sure every single hour was absolutely accounted for, but it still raises the question that, the line attorneys are making, the highest ones are making 170, 180. And, the DA didn't use a line attorney. He went to the outside, and DA Morrissey still hasn't said why he decided to do that. Was that because nobody in the office would take the case, or was it because they just had so much?
Ask Bob, thank you so much. Will, I feel bad for Karen Reed and Aiden, who have been abused and tortured by the state. I could care less for corrupt Michael Cox and this scumbag, lying, arrogant tramp Kelly Dever, who is a cop allowed to carry a gun. I agree with you, Ask Bob. Thank you, buddy.
Much confidence in Brennan and saying, all right, this guy, we think this guy is our best hope.
So there's so many kind of thoughts I have around that, but you're right. He probably did work those hours. I saw some people saying that, associates in big law firms usually bill $2,200 an hour to hit their bonus. That's all fine. You're not wrong about that. This is different. When you're trying a case like this, preparing a case like this, I can absolutely see how he could work over 2,200 hours in the, 7 or 8 months that he's been working on this case. No surprise there. The issue is, why did the taxpayers have to do this? An attorney?
Great. Thank you, Peter, because that was going to be my next point. Like, I don't give a fuck how many hours this guy worked. I don't give a fuck how hard he worked. Why the fuck did the Massachusetts taxpayer have to pay for it? Why the fuck wasn't there an ADA perfectly capable of prosecuting this case? The reason for that is simple. There was no ADA qualified to prosecute this case because the qualification necessary to prosecute this case is to be unethical and shitty, to be a dirty piece of shit. That's what it takes to be a prosecutor in the Karen Reed sham. Okay? That's why Hank Brennan got paid as much as he did. And that's why Michael Morrissey hired him.
And a client. Nobody can really argue with the fees I get paid. If the client wants to pay them and they're fair and reasonable, which is not what you, Ted Daniel, think is fair and reasonable. It's what the client and I think are fair and reasonable. I'm not taking advantage of them, somebody that's under the influence or, anything like that. They're allowed to pay me a lot more money than you may think I'm worth. If they think I'm worth it, that's between us. This, on the other hand, is between the taxpayers and the elected officials that are in charge making these decisions. Why did you have to pay this amount of money? Why don't you hire better lawyers? Why don't you try to get a situation where you can make a salary higher? Why don't you train the lawyers better? Send them to more CLEs. Why did you have to do this in this situation to this amount? Yes, $250. Like I said, not a very high billable rate for him, but why did you have to do this?
Peter's out here spitting.
If you're Michael Morrissey and you had some interesting potential reasons why he had to do that, he has to answer to the taxpayers. And if it's an answer like what you just asked, that nobody else in that office would do it, that's a real problem for him.
Yeah, no, I mean, I guess if I was in that office, I'd be like, I want this, it's something that just is an opportunity to be involved in something that,
unless you think you can't prove it.
Yeah.
And as a prosecutor, you think you shouldn't prosecute it, then you don't want it.
Yeah. No, we don't know the inner workings and how those decisions were made. All right. I need to let you get back to your vacation. Thanks so much for jumping on with me. Like I said, this was kind of a big development that, we were able to get our hands on the letter, and, it's, all
right. That's all that is. Rose, thank you so much. Will singing Gordon Lightfoot and KDOT. I don't know what that is. KDOT. I'm bad with acronyms. I'm guessing what they are. Now, yeah, Peter was very insightful there. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, and yeah, let me talk about something real quick. So last night, Aiden was interviewed by a channel. I forget what her name is. I was not familiar with her channel. And he did an interview with her. And the chat was pretty rough. Like I was in the chat for a second. And I might have made a couple of snarky sarcastic comments, but I made them very, very vague because I didn't want to like really actually make fun of anybody. Oh yeah, AV to the seventh power. Now apparently she's an attorney, and she seems to have a really good channel. I'm not that familiar with it. And just it seemed like, I mean, what happened was, listen, here's my take on what I saw. Honestly, I feel like she's got a good channel. And I feel like she may have just not prepared herself properly to discuss Turtle Boy's case. And I don't think that she had familiarized herself a whole lot too much with the Karen Reed case. Because again, you can't like know everything you need to know about the Karen Reed case by just watching the trial. You can't know everything you need to know about the Karen Reed case by reading articles. And I don't know if she did all that. I don't know what she did, but she had Aiden on. And the thing is the Karen Reed case is over. The thing to talk about is like, if you're going to have Aiden on, is, I guess, yes, his experience with the Karen Reed case, sure. But you got to educate yourself on the guy you're interviewing a little bit and have a little bit more knowledge, because that's the thing is I don't think that she meant to be that it was a problem. I think that there was just a kind of a lack of chemistry there. And I feel like the momentum wasn't picking up. And I just think that she was unprepared. And that's the thing is I'm going to kind of defend her a little bit here, because I know a lot of people are like, oh, well, she shouldn't have blah, 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 blah. Okay, fair enough. That's fine. But the thing about the Karen Reed and Turtle Boy cases is you can't properly tell one without the other. You can't tell one story without the other. You can't properly do it. I've been saying this forever. Second is there's so many moving parts that constantly keep updating in either case. Because I mean, think about it. Karen Reed's case is over, but yet here we are seeing Alan Jackson. What did we just spend this whole 2 hours talking about? We spent these last 2 hours talking about the Karen Reed case. Technically, it's had nothing to do with Turtle Boy. I read a Turtle Boy article about the Karen Reed case, or about this latest development in the Karen Reed case. But you got to understand that there's always something new happening, and you have to keep up with all of that. So you cannot approach the Karen Reed, John O'Keefe situation without being without really, really getting involved in it, in the sense like really, really not getting involved in it. I mean, really taking a deep dive into it and following it consistently, keeping up with every update, because you're going to miss stuff, and you're going to miss a lot if you're just focusing on something else and then you're going to come back to it. You're going to miss a lot. And so in her defense, there's no way for her to know that. Maybe her, a lot of people's way of doing interviews in the true crime world is, okay, well, this is the person that everybody's talking about. He seems to be going on everybody's channel. Maybe he'll come on mine, and then we could talk and shoot the shit. And we'll it'll help me get some views or whatever, because I'm a true crime channel, But the problem with that is Turtle Boy has such a loyal and large following that if you're not keeping up with all of it, and you're not jiving with Turtle Boy, which means that like the thing is that the Turtle Boy and Karen Reed community, those communities, and much of the two are the same. We're all very passionate about what's going on here, and we're very passionate about it for certain reasons. We're not just passionate about it because we think what happened to Karen Reed is wrong or what happened to Turtle Boy is wrong. We're passionate because it shouldn't be happening to anybody, and the idea that it could happen to anybody scares the shit out of us, and therefore makes us passionate about creating awareness and perpetuating awareness for it. She unfortunately did not come off that way. and the chat caught on to it. The Turtle Boy supporters in her stream caught on to this, and they were not mean to her. I didn't see anybody being real mean. They were just kind of like, yo, dude, come on. Like, you know what I mean? And the thing is, you know, if you're going to have guests on, man, that goes to show, because that's why, dude, I'm not, I don't ever call what I do an interview, ever, because I'm not a journalist. I don't consider myself a journalist. Like, I consider when I have guests on the show, they are just guests. They are guests, and we are having a conversation. And I'm not going to invite somebody on my show that I have not been following or keeping up with to some degree. And the thing is with Turtle Boy, you got to keep up with a lot. There's a lot going on. We're talking about a guy who is constantly putting out content, and content is what people keep trying to use against him. Think about that. So you've got a guy who's constantly putting out content, and you've got people who are constantly trying to use his content against him. And so this is going to create a lot of stuff to talk about in a short period of time. So I feel bad for her. She got in the thick of it, and it was like, all right, do the best you can. And that's what happened. I don't feel it was bad enough for her to have to privatize it, though. Maybe she put it back up. I don't know. But I don't feel that it was bad enough for her to have to privatize it. Everybody has off days. It's not that big a deal, man. Circumstances happen. Life happens. This isn't somebody who's just consistently a shitbag who's just going to have whoever the fuck she wants on her channel just to fucking gain views. But I'm saying, like, there are times where you can kind of do that, where you're just like, all right, well, this is all the rage right now. Let's get him on my channel and I'll just talk to him and ask him general questions. I mean, she could have just asked questions where she was just let Aiden talk. You know what I mean? But yeah, the chat. Yeah, the chat was harsh, Scott McGinnis. It was. And that's the thing is people, you know, Turtle Boy's community is going to get harsh when it comes to this stuff because, you know, we are passionate about this. What we're passionate about is how important it is that Turtle Boy beats these charges because they're so bogus. It's very important. And I don't think that she had read the room before she had booked Turtle Boy on there for this interview. And that's a simple, when you boil it down, it's a simple slip. It's not anything malicious. It's not shitty. It's not mean. The only thing that's even remotely shitty about it is the fact that she invited the guy on, and Aiden, being as passionate as he is, was probably expecting to have a really passionate conversation with somebody who was just as passionate. This is why I think he looks forward to doing these shows with other people on their channels. Part of the reason, you know, because he looks forward. He loves talking about this stuff. So he's looking forward to having a cool conversation with a new person that he's never had a conversation with about it. You know, so like, I see that. I get that. You know what I mean? And so, you know, that's pretty rude to your guest when you don't consider that. So, you know, the only person here who really has a right to be upset about it is Turtle Boy, and he doesn't even seem to be upset about it. So, I mean, I don't know her very well, but I think that she was fine, and I don't think it's that big a deal. And I think, you know, like, you know, I hope that, you know, she doesn't overthink it, because I think that she's probably got a lot to offer, especially if she's an attorney. She's probably got a lot to offer the community, and I'd like to see it, you know? What's up, Mizzy? It's good to see you. Yeah, I'm not dissing AV at all. I'm not dissing her at all. Yeah, I mean, Yeah, I mean, and that's all it is. You know what I mean? I'm just addressing it because I keep seeing people talk about it, and I'm just like, it's not that serious, you know? Like it was not a great live stream. I don't feel it was as bad as she thought it was, you know? Sometimes people like talking about something and it just snowballs into something that it doesn't need to be. You know, it just doesn't. Okay, but maybe she didn't really discuss his case too much. Maybe she didn't keep up with it before she had him on the second time. The bottom line is that she just wasn't prepared for this second time around. That's all. And she just wasn't ready for all the developments that had taken place. She wasn't aware of all the developments that took place. And that fucking happens, man. That happens. Dude, listen. You're talking to a guy who never prepares anything. I just know what I'm going to talk about. And sometimes I don't know what the fuck I'm going to talk about. Like, I raw dog this shit like every single fucking time. Every time I raw dog this shit. When I go over videos or articles, I know I'm going to go over them, or motions. I know I'm going to go over them, but 90% of the time I wait until I'm going to go over them so that I can react to them. Because I like sharing the experience with you. That's my content, is sharing my experience in this case with you. It has been from the beginning, and it's never changed. Sometimes I will have watched something first, but very rarely. Normally, I wait until I'm going to go live to watch something or read something because I'm going to react to it. Right on, man. Yeah, I hope. Yeah. Like, I'm sure she has a great channel. Yeah, I don't think so. I think Aiden helped a lot with that because he put out a really kind tweet earlier today. So I think that helped a lot with that. There was something else I wanted to go over, and I can't remember what it was. I waited 24 seconds for that. Dude. Let me see what we got here. Hold on a second. Let me see something. Sorry, I'm just looking for stuff at this point. So this is funny. So Krusty Panties posted, hey, Howie Carr, you decrepit old retard. If you can't even articulate what it is that I do, is it reasonable to believe anyone is paying me to do it? It's a real shame you've survived long enough to become this feeble-minded. Sorry about your dementia. Yeah, I'm sure she got ratioed like crazy. Which she did. David with 2,000 followers said his mind is sharper than yours will ever be. He also didn't dump his kids off for another family to take care of. And then she goes on to say his mind is indisputably not sharper than mine. Dude, please, I'm disputing it. Bringing up his kids is a slippery slope. We know about Carolina, blah, 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 blah. Jesus Christ. Now, he did bring it up first, but I mean, the fact is, not Howie, but this David guy. Now, I don't know what Howie Carr said about her, but I'm assuming that he called her out for being paid by the Commonwealth to set up Aiden, which I absolutely believe she did, because I do not think that the mighty Mark Betterow would write in a letter and submit it to the court stating that he has proof of this if he didn't. So, I am really, really, really curious as to what she thinks. Like, I mean, I'm curious as to like why she thinks, why she's so fucking delusional. What is it in her life that makes her so fucking delusional that she thinks that she is more credible to anyone than Howie Carr? I mean, let me read. Mike from Young Jerk's tweet when he posted this. He said, imagine thinking today in 2025 that the guy that stood up, had a Whitey Bulger hit placed on him and won, cares about what you have to say. Hope he looks up your rap sheet. Howie Carr going over a rap sheet is always gold. I hope so too. I second that notion, Mike. I would like to see Howie Carr go over Krusty Panty's rap sheet. Because it's a party, dude. Remember, I talked about this yesterday, people. It's a party now. It's a party. Now we're just going to go over Krusty Panty's dumb shit on the internet and just make fun of it because it's fun. She is to be treated as nothing other than an absolute and utter joke. Somebody waiting to fail miserably through multiple steps of failure that we are witnessing currently in real time. She's a miserable twat, and she deserves all the negative attention because, again, people, I focus my energy as best as I can on as best as I can on providing for my environment, dude. I don't want to be one of these people that takes from my environment. I want to give to my environment, and what I give to my environment perpetuates back to me is something that I learn to accept and learn to be grateful for. That is what I do in my everyday life. This is something that manages my shit. Okay. Now, far be it from me, again, as I explained yesterday, to deny Krusty Panties and people like her from the misery that they crave. They're miserable, shitty fucks. And they obviously get joy from misery. So what I'm going to do is provide them with such misery by pointing out how shitty they constantly are, because they want the attention. They blast it on the internet. They're obviously looking for the negative attention. So far be it from me not to give it to them when I am somebody who's just trying to bring joy to anyone, not just the people that I feel deemed fit for joy. That's not how this works. Everyone gets my joy, bro. Everyone does. Now, I might have to shift how I deliver that joy. I might have to shift the things that provide joy to those who need joy, who get joy, who crave joy. So if you're somebody who craves joy by being complimented and cheered on, I'm happy to do that. And if you're somebody who craves joy, who gets joy out of being a miserable, sorry son of a motherfucker, and I'm happy. I'm happy to do that. I'm happy to point out why you're a sad, sorry son of a motherfucker. I'm happy to do that. Because if it brings you joy, it brings me joy. Now, I hate to brag here, folks, but now, I don't know how many times I have to tell you guys that I'm always right. Okay? If you're wondering if there's any basis as to why you should listen to what I say, okay, I'll explain. Now, 7 hours ago at 3:38 p.m., okay, 7 hours ago at 3:38 p.m., I posted, is anyone hoping? No, man, get out of there. Is anyone else hoping for legal docs to drop before the work week ends in an hour and a half? That was at 3:38 p.m. And just before 5 p.m., folks, what happens? Now, I had no idea. I just had a feeling, people. I've got an instinct. Okay? This is where all of my rationality and sense of logic comes from. Okay? Comes from instinct. Law tubers, they got law school. The Glare Institute of Law and stuff is a state of mind. Okay? It's a way to get in touch with your inner self to where you can be intuitive. Intuitive. Okay? One more time. Intuitive. Okay? The Glare Institute of Law and stuff teaches you to use these intuitions and instincts. Okay? Now, I had no idea. And no, I didn't have a source. No source told me about this. I wish I had those kind of sources. I do not. Olivia, I do not. But I have instincts. Intuition. Okay? I just had a feeling. I felt like something was going to happen an hour and a half before it did. And the proof is right there. It's right there. The proof is right there. Now, keep that in mind, people. Keep that in mind in the weeks and months to come. Keep my predictions that have taken place today in mind in the weeks and months to come. Okay? Stop it, Olivia. You're fucking my shit up. And I'm telling you, I ain't got no goddamn source. I'm telling you, don't fucking call me a liar. Okay? I ain't got no source. You better quit with those lies. I ain't got no goddamn source. All I'm saying is, I had a feeling something was happening. I'm sitting there, I'm rewatching Ray Donovan, and I go, I had a fucking Christopher Walken, Stephen King moment, bro. The Dead Zone moment, where I was sitting there and I'm watching Ray Donovan, and then I just looked at my phone, and then I grabbed my phone, like out of nowhere. It hadn't rung, nothing. And I went, and then I tweeted. That's what happened. I tweeted. Dead Zone shit, bro. Grab my phone. And then I tweeted. That's what happened. Okay? Understand. Why do you think, bro? Why do you think? Why do you think? You think it's because I'm smart that I kick it with law tubers? You think it's because I'm smart? No, motherfuckers. Listen to how dumb I am. Okay? It's because I got intuition. Okay? That's all it is. It's intuition. People, thank you guys for hitting the like. Appreciate it. Will, you are crazy. Thank you, JoJo. But you make me laugh. I ain't crazy. Don't gaslight me. But thank you. I appreciate it. If I had sources, I would have had the actual documents. So there you go, Olivia. Intuition. Intuition. Okay? Thank you guys for hitting the like. I really appreciate it. If you guys are new subscribers, thank you for subscribing. Thank you to the old school subscribers too. And make sure to hit the notification bell so you know next time I'm going live. And to everybody who shows support, I really appreciate it. You guys are absolutely fantastic. I love you guys very much, and we will do this again very soon, my friends.